in this lecture we will learn about C++ classes and object-oriented programming. And before that, just this presentation has been taken from MIT OpenCourseware, okay, and the C++ lecture series, and it is taken under the Creative Commons license, okay. So it's under the Creative Commons license, okay. So now let's see what are classes. So before that we will take one example, okay, and that of vector, okay. So there is a geometric vector, and a vector has a one starting x1 and y1, okay, so and another point x2 and y2, okay. So this is the vector and you want to represent this vector in a C language, okay. So what you do, so in the context of geometry, a vector consists of 2 points, and those points are the start point and the finish point, okay, and each point itself is a coordinate, okay. So each of these points has x and y coordinate, okay. So let's see. So what happens here is, now this is the point. We have a starting point whose x coordinate is 0.4, the y coordinate is 0.8, and similarly the end point has 0.9, 1.5. So what happened is that now how will you represent it in C? So one way is you will say is that we will use 4 doubles, okay. So one will be the start x coordinate, the x coordinate of the first point, then the y coordinate of the first point, okay. So these two makes the first point, and then end x and end y are the x and y coordinates of the second point, okay. So we need to have 4 double points and a function, okay, so to pass it to. So this is there. So now let's try to see. So we need 4 doubles, okay, that is there. So now how will you define? So we will say that, okay, we will have int main, and we will see that in C we will have double x start, double x end, okay, and then we will have double y start and double y end. So these are the 4 doubles that we will use for defining a vector. But let's try to see. Now if we want to print that vector, so what will you do? So we will have to print the starting point, the x coordinate and y coordinate of the starting point, and the x coordinate and y coordinate of the end point. So here we use a print vector function and we pass all those 4 arguments. Then what happens is we have cout we do, and you print like this, okay. So this gives us a vector. So x coordinate and y coordinate of the start, and then you make an arrow of a vector, then x coordinate, y coordinate of end. So how it seems? So we have now print vector. If you do for this code, piece of code, so what you will get is 1.2, 2.0 and arrow. So this is a vector. So this is how you would proceed in C. And it looks that these things, so what we see here is that we want to represent one vector, okay, and for that vector we need all these, okay. So these all doubles are in fact very much related together, okay, because they all are representing one vector. But in C there is no better way, like here, that okay, you can represent them like this. So in fact there is a thing called structure, but we will see it. So vector is there. Now let's try to examine the code. So what happens is, and let's say there is another thing that we want to add, is that we want to have another operation, and that is we want to have an offset, okay. So offset we want to give to the x coordinate as well as the y coordinate. So how will you do that? So for that what you need to do is you need to pass the reference of all those 4 doubles as well as the offset for the x coordinate and offset for the y coordinate. Then what you do, so x0 is x0 plus that offset x, and y0 is y0 plus offset y. Okay, so this is performing your work. It works fine. Then you print the vector like we saw previously. And now let's try to see. So what happens now? Int main, so we have offset vector, so we make an offset of x offset of 1 and y offset of 1.5. now we print that vector for these points, then we get something like this as the result. Okay, so many variables being passed to the function. So this is the point we want to make, that many variables are being passed to the function for just operating on a simple vector. Okay, so you need four of the doubles are needed to pass for a simple processing of just adding one offset. Okay, so the function declaration becomes quite cumbersome. So here comes the savior, that is known as class, a user defined data type which groups together related pieces of information. A great definition. Okay, a user defined data type which groups together the related pieces of information. Okay, so let's try to see pictorial. This is an excellent PPT provided by, of course, the MIT, the greatest institute in the world. So vector, so you have this as a class where we have the x coordinate start, and then we have x coordinate end, y coordinate start, and y coordinate end. Okay, so this is there. So but all of them are kept in a box because this is your vector. Okay, so x start, your x start is here, then you have your y start, and then you are having another point which is x end, and you have your y end. Okay, so this is there. And then what happens is that C++ guarantees that if we provide you a class where you can club them together. So how we do that? How is that clubbing being done in C? Very simple. Let's try to see this piece of code. So work has become easier for me with this PPT. So thanks to MIT. So class definition syntax. So you have a class vector. Okay, so you write the keyword here is class. Okay, the name, and then the class is there which tells that okay, you are going to see one entity, okay, where everything are related informations are kept together, bundled out together. You have to define the name of that class. So here it's vector, so we write class vector. Then what we do, we give an open brace telling them my class definition is starting, then you end your class definition with a closed brace and then a semicolon to end. Now what happens, inside that you see public double x start, double x end, double y start, and double y end. Okay, and before that you see a public modifier. Okay, so let's not get involved in this public identifier, but let's see that okay, now all our x and y coordinates for the starting point and end point are clubbed together so that we have some ease in handling them. Okay, so we don't need now to pass all those four doubles as argument to a function to process this vector. Okay, so next, so we see this indicates that new data type we are defining is called a vector. Okay, now let's see. So class vectors, so these are called the fields of that class. Okay, so important again point to note, these four things, the doubles are known as fields. Okay, so they are called fields, so I don't need to draw much, it's already given. Fields indicate what related pieces of information our data type consists of. Another name for field is members. Okay, so they are members of that class. Okay, so like a car, okay, so your car is made up of wheels, bonnet, your handle, your gear and all. So those are attributes or members of your class which is car. So similarly your vector has these members, okay, in it. So then let's move further. Okay, so another very good diagram to explain fields can have different types. Of course, okay, when I'm describing, so it's not necessary always that okay, like a vector everything will be just say of same type like double. We can have something different. The great MIT students, okay, so they will have name which is of type char, okay, an array of character, and their student ID will be int. Okay, so now what this class explains is that it's not necessary that your members should have the same type. They can have different types. Okay, so name is of type char array and student ID is integer. So this is there. Now we come to another important point that is known as instance. Okay, so let's see about instance. An instance is an occurrence of a class. Okay, so an instance is an occurrence of a class. Different instances can have their own set of values. Okay, so this tells that, okay, there is a thing called class MIT student. Okay, it's a class. Now MIT students, there is not only one MIT student, there can be many MIT students. Okay, so what we want is that we want to differentiate that, okay, he is one MIT student, another one is another MIT student, and so on. So those are called the occurrences of the class. Okay, so what we do, so they are also known as objects. Okay, so like MIT student 1, so MIT student 1, MIT student 2, MIT student 3, and so on. Okay, so if we want to represent different students, so the class of students will be the same, but inside that their name and their student ID will be, of course, different. So the object defines those different instances of that class. Here the different MIT students. So student 1, student 2, they are both MIT students, but how are they different? They will have different names and different student IDs. Okay, so this is there, and how you write the instances. So we have defined a class here. Okay, so if you see, so here we have a class MIT student, and then we have character star name, which stores the name of the student, and then int student ID. And then we also define those two students. How? So it is something similar like int. We have the class type. Okay, it is of integer type, but we can have two variables, int x and then int y. So what we do, the type we declare first, then the instance name. So similarly, MIT student, that is the class name, then your variable name, the student 1 and student 2. Okay, so this is something like here, if you see, so student 1, student 2. So now we are just filling it. Student 1 is Giza. Okay, student ID still unknown. Why is student name known? Because I have defined student 1 dot name is Giza. Okay, so another very important point. So let's try to note this, student dot name. So if you want to access the field or the members, how you do that? So your variable here, so it's similar to C structure if you have studied C. So how you access the members? Using the variable name and then a dot operator. Okay, so student 1 dot name, if I want to, and then I say that, okay, it's equal to it, so like any variable, its name is Giza. Okay, very bright student. Then you have, if I want to write the student ID, so I will do student 1 dot student ID. Okay, so student ID, so this will become equal to, let's say, roll number 1, the best student in MIT. So student ID is 1. So this way you can say that now student ID is also 1. Okay, but let's see what the professor there has done. So he has done a very big roll number, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Very good roll number. Okay, so MIT student has now, because now he defined the MIT student ID, so dot operator we are using, as you should note here, and then he gives the ID. But still in the name student 1 2 is defined, but what happens is, because you have not given any information in the code here in the main, so these two attributes for student 2, even though student 2 is defined, the memory is allocated for it, but its name and student ID are unknown. Okay, so that's the problem. So how we fix that? Again you can give those values here. Okay, so we give the values here, and this completes. So that's Jessie, how you pronounce, I think Jessie, and her roll number is 987654321. Okay, so there is also in roll number also you have some kind of relation. Okay, reverse. So this is about the class, basic about class. Okay, and accessing fields. So variable dot field name, so you access like that. So we will just see till here in this lecture. So see out student name is student dot name, we do like this. So now we are printing out the name. So student1 dot name, student1 dot student id, you print like this. Okay, so that's there for the class, the definition of class and how we use classes. So I hope you understand this. Thanks a lot, and I thanks MIT also for providing such a wonderful PPT slide and giving us the option through the license. Okay, community commons license. So thanks a lot.